Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the David Paul Seymour Show. And I'm super humbled to be joined tonight as my guest, Mr. Dan Dreyer, creator and founder and owner of Dixxon Flannel. My humble opinion, the greatest men's clothing line on planet Earth right now, and not for good reason. Wait, for good reason. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
I know how busy you are, dude. Like you are a seriously busy dude, and I know how valuable your time is to your company, your family. I know you've had some awesome milestones this week, so thanks again for carving out the time this week to do this. And I couldn't be more thrilled. And welcome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked. This is actually, so I had one of my assistants download Zoom on my computer today because, you know, it's weird. I run an internet company, but I like can't even hook up a printer myself. So it's cool. This is that Zoom thing everyone's been talking about. So I'm super stoked to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, you got more important things to do than worry about the computer stuff, I guess. So,
yeah, I kind of, you know, you're an artist way more than I am. So I'm sure that you understand that it's like when it comes to creative shit, like it's like when it comes, it's like you ride that train. You can't carve it into a 9 to 5. And then when you try to dance meetings around it and stuff, like nothing gets done. You know, so I've gotten to the point where I don't take a whole lot of meetings. I don't take a lot of calls or anything. It's almost like I silence my phone for the rest of the day, try to do Instagram a little bit here and there. And then it's kind of, you know, try to stay creating all the time. I'm sure that you know what that's like crazy.
Yeah, I do. My background actually before I became an artist is in architecture, and I had the misfortune to work for a couple of like really sort of corporate firms at the end. It's amazing how much fucking time they waste all the goddamn day long with meetings and unnecessary shit, you know. So hats off.
Gotta have a meeting about the next meeting and pull it. You have that.
Right. Meanwhile, all the big dogs are out there playing golf and shit, you know, and telling us, you know, how they're out there doing meetings and whatever. And they're just getting drunk on a golf course.
Right. Absolutely, man. I've worked for a couple places that were also like that. And so it's funny because it sucks at the time, but what you take with you is like the inefficiencies that you hate.
Yep.
And it's like they have to fill up their time with it and everything. And I'm more like, I tell the guys, like, work smarter, not harder, dude. If you get all your shit done and, you know, and you're here for 6 hours and you got to take off, like, I'm good with it. I don't want to have meetings with you guys. You know, it's like, we got to keep on moving, you know?
Right. Exactly. No, I totally get it, man. The whole 4-hour work week thing, I'm sure you stumbled across that at some point, but like that changed my life, man. Not that I just want to work 4 hours a week. I don't, but like, I love what I do and I want to do more of that, not more of the bullshit. So yeah,
Right.
I've been running this for like almost 10 years now, man. And like, you know, and it's been my day job and like, I'm thrilled.
Dude, that in itself, the fact that you get to do that is like, that's a huge accomplishment, you know, or not. I shouldn't say that you get to do that you've paved your life that way to be able to do what you love. That's like, I think it takes a little mindset change for people sometimes to know that it's like, that's fucking huge. That is a huge accomplishment in itself to make a living, you know, doing what you love, creating, you know, with your mind and everything. And I mean, and you're, you know, truth be told, you're kind of like the walking example of that, you know. You to see your art all over, you know, other artists, you know, it's just fucking phenomenal, dude. Congratulations on that. That's huge.
Hey, man, congrats to you too. I appreciate that, man. But enough about me, man. Let's talk about you. And so I got you here. So like, first question right off the top is, how did a dude from fucking hot ass Arizona get it in his mind that he was going to create like the world's greatest flannel shirt? Like, how did that happen?
So I'm originally from Orange County, California. I grew up there. I moved to Chicago for a little while. I was kind of all around the place. And then when I got back, I was in the motorcycle industry in California. Me and my pops owned a shop, and I was looking for flannels, and dude, all the flannels suck. And I'd always worn flannels, and but it's always hard to find a good one. You know, it's like spend all this money and it's $70, $80 at the mall on something. You wash it once and it wrinkles all up and it looks terrible. And I hate wrinkled stuff. I hate like colors being wonky and stuff. kind of, so I wouldn't wear it again. And I don't have enough money to kind of spend on that kind of shit and be able to wear something once and throw it away. I mean, I don't know any of us that do, you know? And so it kind of threw me down this weird path. And like, I enjoyed doing marketing for our shop, and I enjoyed doing, you know, artwork with t-shirts and stuff for the shop. And like, that was fun, but I really didn't know that much about apparel. So like kind of going down this path that I thought it was like, dude, if I could find something and I could brand it, that would be, you know, that'd be cool. So like at first we used blanks and stuff, and it kind of got my feet wet learning about materials and stuff. And, you know, one big thing for me is like, you know, I didn't go to FITM or anything like that. I have no education in fashion, I have zero, you know, education in textiles or anything like that. And so, you know, me and a couple of my guys, like my original ones, like, I mean, we learned just school of hard knocks, like along the way, you know, like making shit that sucked. And like, you think that it, you know, comes out right and you're like pumped, and then you find out something else is ripping or whatever. And you go through this thing where, you know, it's, you just have to learn as you go. And our popular phrase is the whole time has been FITFO. It stands for figure it the fuck out, because there's no one to ask or do anything. I'd be embarrassed to hit someone up and be like, hey, you run a successful company, can you give me your knowledge? And they'd be like, fuck no, dude. Like, you gotta figure that the fuck out, you know? So
learning that shit. Now
yeah, absolutely. So then somewhere along those lines, I think I'd been doing it for like a year, maybe a year and a half. You know, it's still very much a garage brand at that time. And my wife really wanted to get out of the state. We couldn't buy a house. You know, we didn't know what we were going to do. We're, you know, getting ready to enter our 30s. And we're just like, dude, it can't happen in California. Like that middle class California dream doesn't fucking exist. You know, it's like, it's too expensive. I got a newborn kid at home, you know, and things are getting really fucking real, you know? Right. So we up and moved to Arizona. I got a job with Harley, you know, because that's what I know how to do. And I just still work there for like the next, 2-3 years. And then 2 years, I guess. And it was my side thing. And while I learned that and I was so focused in it, I was still focused on, you know, being productive, climbing the chain at Harley, doing all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. And it finally came to this point where I had that road where, or, you know, that fork in the road where it's just like, I can either give this thing the attention that it deserves or forever put it to rest and, you know, settle into the corporate thing, do the grind that I fucking hate, you know, at least I'm around motorcycles, but, you know, but at the same time, like, you know, doing that can take all the love out of that shit too, you know? So, that's when we kind of sprung, and dude, it was the scariest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. But I mean, I look back at it as like, dude, those are some of the best days of my life, you know, just knowing when you take that fucking leap, it's a big fucking deal. Yes, please. Sorry, I had to tell him to get me food. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah, man. Like, so when you guys got going and you were trying to figure it out, what was like your like overarching goal when you first got in? Like, hey, I'm going to make flannels. Here's what I want to do. Here's how I'm going to be different. I know you said like hate the wrinkle, hate all, you know, and I agree with you, man. Like you know, I've been wearing flannels forever too, and you get them and they fucking that crinkly ass fucking collar, the materials, like just you spend a lot of money and it feels cheap, you know?
Right.
But like the R&D that you guys must have did was addressing so many issues. And, you know, when you guys finally hit on that, I mean, that had to be really rewarding, but I imagine like the idea was like, let's make the best fucking thing ever. And you guys definitely nailed that. And it's also the fit. Like I fucking love the fit, you know, guy with like me, like so many of us, a few extra pounds, we probably shouldn't be shoveling around, but you know, when you buy your size, that's the right fucking size. And it's like, man, that's fucking huge, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so there's so many different parts of how that all kind of happened. It's like, I think from the start, what really later led to success for us and that we didn't know at the time was that we were so like, we had blinders on, only looking at, I wanted to be a brand that we didn't have out there. Like, I felt like as a consumer, I wasn't spoken to, you know, because we grew up, like me and my head designer, Chris Jones, he's from the East Coast, but similar paths and everything. Like he grew up with hardcore and everything. And then he becomes a pro skateboarder. then so we always joke around that he's 10 years behind us, even though he's almost 10 years older than me, because 10 years of his life was him being a fucking kid pushing around on a wood board, you know. So then he left skateboarding to come with me, and he kind of rolled the dice on like whether I was going to be able to do this thing or not.
Right.
And we had the blinders on looking at motorcycles mostly. And so we're kind of focused on like motorcycles and music, and like focusing on such a small niche allowed us really to, with a small focus, refine ourselves. Whereas like had we tried to go out and blow up and see everybody all at once, we would have just fucked up in front of a lot of people, you know? And so the other side of that is basically that desire to try to be perfect and constantly perfecting it. And we still do that, you know, like you'll even see this fall, like we add like 5 killer features to the flannels that we're like, why the fuck didn't we think about this earlier? You know, it's like, you know, things like that. And so I think a lot of people just get to this point where you're like good enough. And we just, I can't settle. Like I can't just be good enough. We have to keep going. So watching the evolution of the garments has been really cool, because it's as we learn more, as we figure things out, as we figure out sizing, as we figure out little tweaks and how to present different, we basically use different fabrics that are more expensive for us to bring in that big retail chain brands can't, because they want to pay less duties on it, or they want to, you know, they want to make it cheaper. They want to use, you know, I know like we'll just cross this right now, but like China is what we use mostly. And even that has an art to it, sourcing the right places, because China, just like USA, has some really shithole places, you know. And if you're making something on Skid Row in LA versus like Mile High somewhere else, you know, it's like, it's the same kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so like that evolution has happened too. And I just always wanted to do business as being like, we're not going to spare that last dollar just to, you know, just for quality or just for profit. And we're going to be fine. We're going to make enough to live. And as long as we focus on all we got to do, I got $3,000 in bills a month, and like, that's all we got to pay, then fuck it. Let's just bring out the best shit that we can. So from the beginning, that's where we had started with that mindset. And I just tried to never lose that, you know, and just making sure that, one, customer service is always a product and just as important of a product, if not more, than the actual product itself. And two, trying to make sure that that product has an evolution cycle and that we never, ever give up on it. We never, ever find that place where we're comfortable. We keep on grinding just like it was our first fucking year, you know? And that, I mean, I think over the time, like that's been kind of the big deal. And so the last thing, we spent a year and a half fucking finding the right fabric. And one of the reasons why, being motorcycle riders, it needed to be abrasion resistant. We never say that out in public because of like insurance liability, basically. But there's a lot of guys that have gone down. Their dickies are shredded. Their jeans are done, but their shirt's still intact and they saved them, you know? And so without having to use Kevlar and all these wonky things and having to market all that bullshit, our stuff is durable and you can go through hell, you know? So.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, dude. No, I agree in what you were saying about your customer service. It's amazing. I've got to try it out firsthand, and nothing would do with the product. My just like the homework excuse, my fucking dog ate it. Matter of fact, it was the first one of these that I bought.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and my dog's never chewed up fucking anything. And I'm sitting here working one day, and I look over, and I see he's eating something. It turns out it's this shirt. It was the first one I fucking bought from you guys. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. My wife finally green lighted a fucking Dixxon purchase, and you're gonna eat it. And, right. And he chewed this big fucking hole in it. And I remember it had already sold out. And I reached out to somebody on your team, and whoever, you know, the customer service guy was, and he was so cool. He's like, I got you, man. I got you. What size is it? You know? And he came through with one, man. And you know, and I was cool too. I paid him for him. Like, this isn't for you to, you know, my dog ate this. You shouldn't eat it. You know what I mean? So it's like, but he came through, man. I was so fucking bummed out, because I'm like, man, this fucker sold out, and now I'm fucking stuck with, you know, but I still have it. My daughter actually sewed a black patch on the back, because it was in the back here is where he chewed the hole. And, you know, she fucking stitched this black patch on there with a band on it. So it's like, it still turned out all right. So now I got two. man. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's rad, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that what my approach on it, and now that things have changed drastically, obviously now, and like I think we have like 10 girls in customer service now,
Mhm.
and telling them the things that we used to tell guys is like definitely not the same. But my mindset from the beginning, this is still my mindset now, it's just a different delivery to them, is that we started out as like, we were influenced by, just like me and you are probably influenced by a lot of the same bands and a lot of the same things growing up, the different kind of like society, politics, the kind of shit that you think of when you're young and angry and pissed off and how that evolves like as your life evolves. And my thought always was, those are the customers that we're going to attract. So you need to make sure that we're fucking leveling with them and we never change to the point where we feel like we're above or something like that. It's like, you have to remember that we're just people making fucking shirts, just like these guys are just dudes making fucking music. We're not fucking superstars, and you don't get to act like that, And so bringing that approach to everyone, and which is kind of where that stay humble thing like came from, was like, if you guys ever start believing your own hype, that's when the thing's done. Like, that's when we pull the fucking plug, move on, and we sell it to fucking Costco or something, And because like we're here for that mission, is to be that we're the people for the people kind of thing. And I still try to drive that home. And it's like, it's one of the best things, because when you treat the people in your workplace like that too, it's like, it's so natural that it comes off to your customer, and that we're like, oh yeah, dude, you fucking dog ate it. I totally get it. My dog like ate my chick's panties that came from Victoria's Secret, and I didn't even know that those could cost so much. They only have like this much fabric.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's awesome. Well, speaking of guys and chicks, so like, I know that you guys sell girls' clothes and all that. The brand seems super smartly focused to guys, which, especially in this time of things, like, it's hard to say like that's good, but I will be honest, like, to me that's awesome, because guys, especially guys like you're talking about, like us, man, I mean, I kind of feel like we've been underserved for a long time. I mean, it's kind of like, give that guy a button-down shirt and a pair of khakis, put a fucking spatula and a beer in his hand, and put him out in the backyard, and he's good to go, right? It's like, who's been looking out for us, man? And so right. I kind of feel like you've done a really good job with that, and I think it's awesome. You know what I mean? That, like, I feel spoken to, not just in a niche of like music I listen to, the fact that I like to skateboard, the fact that I whatever, you know what I mean? I love the demographic aspect, but I like being just spoken to as like a guy. This fucking shirt fits. This, this marketing is geared at me, you know what I mean? And like, I know it's super smart, but at the same time, it's so real, dude. And like, I think that resonates with everybody who is into your brand. And I think that's another cool aspect.
Absolutely. I think it's really fun on our side to be able to speak to those people, and even in a time like this, when our advertising has to go a little bit more vanilla, as people are very offended these days by things, it's my thought process on that whole thing. When I lived in Chicago, it was the first time that I ever got to see like these legit, almost like men's hair salons. It's like not just a barbershop, but in the last couple years, barbershops are really back on the rise. That style's back, that nostalgia and everything, which is rad. I love seeing that. But at that time, it was like, there's men's boutiques, there's men's stuff like that. Now, if you don't want to go buy a $200 pair of jeans, or like, $150 Pendleton or something like that, then you're kind of asked out on that spot. So it's like, if we took that same like mindset and delivered to men at that time, I thought it was really cool. And just the other thing is guys with plain style. And it's like, at the end of the day, on my resume, if I had to get another job, I might be a fashion designer, but at the end of the day, I'm plain as fuck, and if I wasn't wearing this stuff, I'd probably be going to the t-shirt store, and I'm, wearing Dickies and whatever. So my focus on that was like, let's find the plain things and perfect them, and like, take the guesswork out of all the rest of the shit and make premium t-shirts like that feel premium, but aren't fucking so skin tight, slim fit shit that it's, going to be weird for us to wear. And then taking the same thing with the flannels, the shorts, everything that we make now. And so now we carry that mindset into everything, and basically taking the ordinary guy and finding out that the ordinary guy is not fucking ordinary at all. They're the pickiest motherfuckers. And so it's like, we perfect those pieces to make sure that, that they're taken care of, because those guys, guys like us are like, you find something you like, and it's like you got everything figured out, you know, at that point. The formula is there. You wear the same underwear, the same fucking socks, the same pants. It's just in different colors, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Man, you definitely had some serious milestones come your way this week, from my observation. I mean, or at least one big one. I mean, you guys had some cool releases, but I think the bigger picture is like the fucking new building, right? So that's like the thing this week. So that's got to be surreal, man. I saw your posts. I read. I could feel the emotion about your old building. I could just imagine what memories and feelings are embedded in the walls there at that place, and like all the fun times and the growing and learning and all that. I mean, that picture was so vividly painted, and I'm just wondering, like, well, man, like, what kind of fucking high are you on right now? Fucking sadly putting that behind you, but then, the future stepping into view now,
Yeah, it's been like a 6-month roller coaster, really. Like, we moved into our new facility, which we only had the warehouse portion done, but we had to have it. Like, we were bursting at the seams the other place, and we had to keep the other place. We still had the lease on it for the next 6 months, but all the container offices are there, but you're not moving. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. So we moved to this place. It was like a week before Black Friday. So it was madness. We only had the warehouse ready. The front wasn't done or anything. And we had to leave all the old stuff at the old warehouse for the next 6 months before we got all the permits and all that kind of stuff. So the other place sat there just kind of empty, but it still had like all of our stuff, just didn't have any in the inventory really. And then we moved in this new place, and it's like new beginnings. Didn't feel like home really. You know, it's like, it's been a great place. We have room, so it's cool, but everything's constantly under construction every day. And there's like, all kinds of stuff. So this past week is like when we're actually giving the keys back, and to see it completely empty at the old place. Like, I've been dreading going there because I just knew it was just going to be emotionally fucked for me. Yeah. And I mean, when we started out there, the very first warehouse we had, it was 2,300 square feet. Yeah. And that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And I want to say 4 years. So 4 years ago, we go there. It was me, one other guy. Chris Jones was working remotely, and so we just get together as much as possible. The only thing we had was we had 2 racks that held our product, and then we had a mini ramp and a bar. And the amount of space that the mini ramp and the bar took it can perfectly paint the picture of like where our mindset was at, completely. Like, where, we're like, dude, we want to party, we want to have freedom, and do all this stuff. And we started having these big parties there. We get all these people, at first it was 300 people, and it was 500 people, and it was max capacity. But that's locally what kind of got our name out. It was kind of cool. Yeah. And then we had this party in conjunction with Hot Bike, and 500 people came out, and it was 500-600 people. And I mean, I got busted for selling booze there. I got busted on all kinds of stuff. They put me on a bunch of probation, all kinds of shit. I got all these tickets. And so then we couldn't do that anymore. And then it kind of forced us to focus on our work in that space and using it for work. And that's when we started growing too. And then we knocked down the walls progressively as the years went on, and we ended up at 10,000 square feet, which we were bursting at the seams of. But the craziest part was the whole time we were taking everything and reinvesting it in the company. So we didn't have a whole lot of money, and we're constantly doing a lot of it ourselves. Marco laid the tile in the back himself. So he's got he went back, he had tears in his eyes. He's got a big part of himself there, and there's just different stuff. All of our friends that did, all of our friends that are writers that did all the graffiti just to make it feel like home there. And I wanted this mix of hip hop and lowriders meets fucking punk rock and hardcore and skateboarding and all the things that tie up who we all were all into this one place. And we solidified that, and we had it. And then slowly we're swimming in boxes, and this whole new business thing comes up, and it's demanding that we actually become businessmen. Yeah. So that personal growth and then the shit that we all went through, like with our marriages and being dads and, all the fucking ups and downs that come through that, it's weird to shut the door on it and be like, this is where we're at now. We're a 8-figure producing company annually, and we have lives in our hand. We have 40 fucking employees now. Like I feel like I shouldn't even be allowed to be in charge of that many people. and so sometimes it's like that's really the emotional tie that it was, is that it was cool watching when I did that post yesterday. If you look through like my employees that post on it, how emotional they were, looking back on it too. Like it wasn't just me that was scared. It was like they watched their lives change there. But it's cool to open here on a new level, and everyone, I mean, these people are just so devoted and so killer. Like my employees are just fucking awesome. The culture here is great. The camaraderie, the morale, everything. It's really, I think what you as a customer feel is such a result of what is happening here. And when you don't do it right, that's when the customer's feeling the frustrations and feeling the pains and everything. And when everything here is firing, it's like, it's just, dude, it's incredible. I'm just happy to be a part of it, really.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I could imagine your employees are like, it's just so stoked to be coming in every day and working with you, and you seem like that dude who's not just like, hey, I own this company and I started this and you work for me, but you're a bit of a mentor from what I can tell. Like I saw in the story post that, the girl talking about buying her first car. And I mean, you're raising spirits, man. And from the people immediately around you out to people you've never fucking met before through all the shit you share on your social media and stuff like that, because, every day I can look at what you're posting or whatever. And, a lot of things I subscribed to years ago, but it's such a great reaffirmation when I say you're almost like a fucking spiritual speaker, you know what I mean? Like, and you convey so many, and you're so fucking blunt and honest about where your head's at, the things that you've let go in your life for positive change and things like that, man. And like, I imagine you get a lot of fucking fan mail just off of that, in addition to all the product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the personal messages that I get from the followers or customers, is really the most moving. And I have to be honest when I say that, when you hear it a lot, you got to watch where your focus goes, because it's those 5 motherfuckers giving me trouble that day. It's like, and I'm like, God damn it. You feel like you're not doing anything right. And then it like overshadows the 20 messages of cool shit, And so that's my hardest thing, is keeping that on track. And it's just, our mind's like, I'm one of those like 110% or 0 people. So like, I have to just make sure I'm going the right direction all the time, because it's just full throttle. And when I go into the bad direction, it's just, dude, it's fucking hard. And I hate to admit this, and I usually don't, like on my podcast or anything like that, but it's like opening up to people and letting them know, hey, this is how I feel about this. This is how, you see the cars and all the shit, but you don't see all this and blah, blah, blah. And letting them know that shit exists, rather than playing that thing where they're just like, yo, I'm a fucking baller, check me out. That was all I could find of people in the past. And when I was really struggling and in dark places, I was like actively trying to find that. And so I felt like my best service to everyone else is just to be honest and let them know, like, hey, you need to see the other side of this, because if you do embark on a journey like this, if you do become an entrepreneur, if you're an artist that does chase, your dream, you're gonna go through gnarly bad shit. And so you can't quit at the sign of it, because you got to know that everyone that you're looking at their highlight reel and everything looks peachy and great, you don't see all the shit that goes through it. So I'd rather show it to you and let you know that when you're on that path, like, dude, I'm fucking like, I'm 3 months behind. I'm fucking doing this and this. I'm like selling this and this just to keep my head above water. I feel like I'm fucking drowning. Am I the only person? And when you start feeling like that just alone, that's when that quit mentality comes in, and it could fuck you up. You don't know that everyone else went through it, And so I kind of made it my personal mission. And I said, if I couldn't find this at the time, it would have helped me so much to know that. And if I could use that as service to everyone else, then I got to do it. Now, the part that I usually don't admit, that opens me up to a fuck ton of hate, you know, and it's like that the people who don't resonate with that aren't open-minded people usually. And the most narrow-minded people are like your fucking keyboard warriors that are out there, you know, and it's like, you have to learn to get thick skin on it. The personal attacks on it and stuff are fucking gnarly. And you have to remember at the end of the day, you know, that hurt people, you know, and like fucked up people are gonna do that shit. And I represent the side that's like, we're kind of fucked up, but we have, you know, giving, have open hearts. We can have open minds. We're open to new ideas, open to new things. We try different shit out, you know, and I think that those are the kinds of people who can pick up on the positives of the different shit, you know, and so I just like really tried to stay at that because I fucking, dude, to this day, my most successful days have been my hardest and my darkest. You know, those aren't the ones that I'm like celebrating. It seems like it always ends up, those are the ones when you feel like you're sitting on top of the world, you have fucking 100 times more people trying to pull you down. And it's, you know, it's hard, but fuck, we got to do it. You got to do it. You know, if you're a leader, I got to think about everyone that's underneath me. I got to think about them and their families. We got to keep on going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You could be the nicest dude in the world, but there's always some dude waiting to shank you in the alley. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fuck yeah.
And they don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know like what you've got, like you said, what you've gone through. And, you know, it's just a quick throwing fucking poison and venom your way. You know what I mean? But they don't, you know, so, you know, and I'm curious too, like a guy as busy as you with the things that you do every day and the struggles you have and all that, like, because I like to know this from my standpoint, like, you know, when I ask other people in our position, you know, like what is like work-life family balance for you? Is that a tough one, or you have to struggle with, or just you figured it out, you know, and you got it dialed in?
It's a huge issue for me. It's really hard. You know, especially with all this COVID bullshit going on too. It's, I was like staying at home with my kids for 2 weeks. Cause I was like, you know what? I was like, they're on spring break. I'm fucking staying home. I want to be with my kids, blah, blah, blah. Just got off of this, like just 6 month fucking creative bender that is just mind numbing, you know? And, I was like, I'm going to stay home within 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. They're about getting ready to go back to school. Then this like virus thing happens. Now they've been home for like another 6 weeks.
There we go. Nope. There we go. Man, I'm sorry. I don't know if that's you or me, but we'll get through it.
All right. So it's a really hard thing for me. It's tough to this day. And, you know, being home with the kids lately with all the virus stuff, it's like, it makes it really hard for me to shut things off. I'm decent at it if I stay at work and then go home later or whatever. But I think my biggest struggle with it, to be honest with you, is like, you got to figure out at what point, like, are you, and is your work, you know, and it's hard when you're like, you start feeling like your work defines you, because you don't know, and you have to know those separate things. So it's something that I struggle with for sure. But, you know, I just have to, I just always try to remind myself like that, you know, those kids are only going to be this age once. And if I skip it, you know, I don't want my kid to not know how to throw a football, or like, I don't want to fuck him up like that. And then in the end, he's going to be like, I worked my ass off for them. And all he could tell his teenage friends is like, my old man was never there, you know, and then I end up fucking dying early, a heart attack, you know, something like that. So it's like, it's a hard thing, but I always try to keep it really at the forefront of my attention.
Yeah.
But I haven't mastered it by any means.
I don't think I have either, man, to be honest with you. Like I said, yeah, man, my 3 are teenagers, and, you know, I got a lot of regrets in that department. I felt like I was a good dad. Like we had a good, you know, we had a good run, but I'm definitely one of those dudes that, like, if I could go back over with, you know, with the knowledge in my head and do a do-over, like I would do a lot of shit different. And a lot of it is, like you said, you know, just spending more time, more quality time, because even when I was around, you know, it was like always thinking about, you know what I mean? Huh? What'd you say? I'm sorry. You know, like kind of checked out, you know? And so it might be a lot later but for me, at least, I know it's not too late. So like, I've made a lot of changes over the years, since we've been here in the new house, that it was like a whole new deal. And so, I've been working a lot at that too since then. And, so far so good. A lot of things have come back around, but it never was like a huge, like totally huge problem. I wasn't like that bad, but like I said, there was a lot of time, like I can identify it now where I should have been more dialed in and whatever, but luckily I didn't lose these guys, like, or anything like that, so it's.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that most people that are receptive to that thought probably are a lot better than they actually think they were. Like a lot of people were telling me all the time, like, dude, you're a fucking awesome dad. And I'm like, no, I could be so much better, but when you're a self-driven person, you do that. And then I think like the guys that we compare ourselves to are guys that the thought would never even enter their mind. It's like they're just fucking full on checked. So, so that's a positive, but at the same time, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I understand that feeling, because it's like, you gotta figure out new ways of doing things. It's like, there's days where if I leave my phone at home, I've never seen my wife so happy. It's like I just gave her a fucking new diamond ring. She's just like, you left your phone at home? Holy shit, best fucking day ever. Like, it's crazy. It's mind opening because, and I think that this could be a positive. My kids are young, but this could be a positive that comes out of this COVID thing, is like, I learned that I can't be the Disneyland dad. Like, it's like when you go and do something cool with them, it's like, it's distracting for them, and you get to be over here and like finish your work. Yeah. And I'm just like sitting back like over there. Or if I'm not on my phone, I'm like staring at the wall, fucking like, that's my working, just like in my head thinking and shit, And then this taught you that they're right there and you can't take them anywhere. And so it's like, you learn to reconnect with them, and you have to, and you're getting, it's a weird feeling when you like almost feel like my kids getting to know me. They know me, but like, we're stuck here, it's like together.
Dad can't go anywhere. We got him. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. This is a crazy time, man. Like it's insane. This whole thing. Like I don't think anybody could ever saw this shit coming. And like you said, it's got some definite positives coming out of it. You know what I mean? It's definitely not all bad. I mean, this has been eye-opening for us, and I'm sure you guys too. And made people take a lot of stock of what's important in their life, and like, you said, reconnecting with family and all that. So that's definitely not all bad. So
absolutely, it's a time where we all have to get extra creative in departments that we forgot that we had to be creative in. And you gotta, like a lot of artists, tattooers right now. It's like, I threw out a couple ideas to like some of my buddies. I was like, dude, you guys need to fucking get painting, start selling your art, and like, you're not used to it because you guys are always booked out 3 fucking months, and just kind of like talking to people like that. And it's cool to see unique new things come out, and not everyone settling into the same things. And, I imagine like for you, it's kind of hard too, because you have, or, and maybe it's a good thing, the bands now sit down in the studio, they can't tour, so they have to be putting shit out, and, but it's like, it's really sad to watch, because it's like some of my friends that are just on tour all the time, dude, it's everything. It's like, we're getting ready for spring. They're running out of their money that, because this is when they start getting paid again. And it's like, bam, out of fucking nowhere, it's like, it's just sad, dude. But it's been cool to watch some, people get like, a lot of the bands are going live and like playing their instruments, like together and stuff, or unplugged and shit like that. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that too. It is really cool. Like, it's like feels intimate. Like, I saw some bands that I like, they're like announcing live stream shows or whatever, where they're getting together playing. It's like, that's fucking cool. It's like, obviously I'd much rather go, like, that would have seemed somewhat lame like a few months ago, but like, that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? It's like, you could pull up YouTube videos all day long, but the fact that they're going live and it's like, you feel like you're, somehow like connected to them or something like that. It's pretty rad.
Oh yeah. They're like, what are you doing on Friday night? You're like grabbing a beer, going to my office. I'm going to watch my favorite band play in the garage.
Exactly. How cool is that? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I dig it, man. Well, man, like Jesus, again, I know how busy you are, and like I don't want to just sit and eat up all your day, and I can't imagine like you're getting in that mode where you're already probably thinking like, man, I got to wrap up with this dude, I got to fucking do this, and I got to do that, and so's waiting on me to finish this shit. So, uh, I don't want to be the guy, man, that just sits here and keeps fucking sucking your time dry. So.
No, dude, I'm all good. I'm good for another 10 minutes easily, so it's all good. I don't get a chance to do these very well. I mean, I've never done the video one, but even podcasts and stuff like that, I don't get a chance to do it. I really like last year at the beginning of the year, I told myself that I said no too much, and I like made this promise to myself that I was like, you know what? Last year I was really like kind of cleaning up my act and started like really taking shit a lot serious, a lot more serious, and stop using this excuse that I don't know what I'm doing, and that's the reason why it happens, and I started saying, I was like, man, I get invited so many places, and I get invited on these different podcasts, and these calls and stuff, and I always say no, and it's just because I can't wrap my head around it, or I can't stop, and I just say to myself, this is how I am, so I can't. And so I was like, you know what, I gotta stop fucking just saying this is how I am, and you're gonna have to deal with it. Or rather, it's like learn it, and just fucking and get out there and do it, because it's also good for it's good for me. So people they fucking listen to me talk for 10 minutes, and you can kind of tell like I'm super fucking ordinary and plain. Like I don't have anything figured out that you don't, and a lot of the stuff I post, like some of the quotes and stuff, it's like I'm going through those things at that time, and that's the reason why I have to post it. It's not like I'm posting from my knowledge. It's like the knowledge that I'm gaining at the same time with everybody. And I think that's an important thing for people to remember, that I think they hit me up with a lot of questions because they think I have it all figured out. And like, I gotta take this as I go. I didn't go to college. The day I turned 18, signed myself out of high school and took the fuck off, and I just wanted to go to hardcore shows and like hang out with chicks and cool shit like that,
Who doesn't, man? Obviously some people, I guess, but
yeah.
we're not all out there doing that. No, it's awesome, man. Yeah, it's getting watch your mind work in real time like that is pretty interesting, man. Like I'm not that brave, man. I'm definitely not that brave. I never crossed my mind to like I'm gonna tell everybody exactly what I'm going through right now while I'm going through it. That never crossed my mind. I'm definitely not as brave as you, bro. That's like not something I can like easily see myself doing. And so to me, that's a high form of fucking strength, man. That's fucking huge. Put yourself out there like that. And
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
That vulnerability, I think, is just it's important, so that I think that it invites us to connect with other people, and then at the same time, like, you want your work to, speak for itself and everything. And then sometimes when you're vulnerable, people then think that they can take too much from you. And then like, I have people hit me up every day like, yo, teach me how to set up my shipping. And it's like, well, you got to figure it out. And he's like, well, I'm starting my brand, bro. Like, and it's like, well, that's
cool. Like it's your response. Hey man, I'm starting this. You got to help me,
It's like, you can't be entitled to that. It's like, you have to, how it is. Like, you got to be okay with being the beginner, and you just have to, like, you got to eat your own shit. You just got to, you fall down, you eat shit, and you're just like, fuck. And then that's how you learn, and it's, I mean, if I could help other people through the process, like mentally,
sure.
I think that's my big focus. But the shit that they have to do daily, it's like, you sink or swim, man. You gotta fucking do it or not.
Yeah, I get artists. It's kind of the same thing, but I get artists every day who message me, and it's humbling, man, because they're looking for some advice. But what I discover with a lot of them is they want to skip to the head of the fucking line and like be where they're not at now, and they want that like hot tip or I don't know what they're looking for really, but they want to. You could tell they want to just get out in front, and it's like I tell them all the time, and I'm sure it's the same with you. It's like I could literally lay out exactly like do this, do that. Like I could give you a script to follow, but that's not your script. That's my script. That's what worked for me along the way. That's what paved the way for me. But that's not going to work for you. This is 10 years later. This is, my fucking life that I live is totally different from yours. You're probably like a 20-year-old guy still living at home, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe you got 10 more kids than I got or something like that, but you know what I mean? Everyone's journey is different, man. And you know, you can't spell it out for you. Like I said, even if I laid you a blueprint, man, it's not going to work for you. It absolutely doesn't work for you. That's not your fucking story to follow. That's mine. So.
Absolutely. You're so right. I mean, that's important, because that's where, you know, brands have to find themselves. Artists, like, they have to find their spot, their, you know, their signature, their style, you know, so many things. And, you know, when you're younger, if you're just watching what's popular and trying to fucking dictate it through that, then you're not going to go through that journey. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to is like, you can't do it without the work. You know, it's got to be willing to do it. And they're asking you for the magic pill, and you're like, it's not there, you know. It's like,
right.
How to do it.
Well, I always tell them, follow your gut and work fucking hard, man. I mean, you know, and I think obviously work hard is a different definition for every dude you talk to, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I constantly tell myself when I swallow my own pill and go, man, I'll tell my wife, man, boy, I fucking really worked hard today. And I love, she'll always say, like, did you? You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and it's like, oh, did I? Could I do more? You know what I mean? And so, you know, we play that little game.
Come on.
Yeah, it's all it takes, man. It's like, you know, I started getting in my head then and thinking like, oh, I could do more. You know what I mean? It's such a great, you know, a great thing. But if I could say to myself, no, I did bust some serious ass today, and I did good. I'm happy with it. Now I can like lay out, you know, and like I'm cool, you know. But she does all these things keep me in check. It's great. So.
That's fucking awesome. That relationship aspect too is a big thing, you know. Having a good woman behind you on that journey, you know. Fuck, dude.
They'll make or break you.
Hell yes. You know, if me and my wife ended up getting divorced at somewhere in the middle or beginning of that journey, I would be dead possibly right now, but it definitely wouldn't be right here.
No, I can't even imagine what kind of loser I'd be if I wouldn't have met her, man. You know,
I feel the exact same way. Exactly.
I think it's something about those Latina women too, man. My wife's she's Mexican, and like there's a, you know, you need to step your game up, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Oh yeah, they'll tell you how it is. And my wife always tells me too. She like grab a knife like jokingly. She's like, you know, I told you it was till death.
Whoa.
You're like, only Latina, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's how they do, man.
Oh yeah, gotta love them, dude. Gotta love them.
For sure.
Well, dude, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it too. I like I said, I appreciate you carving out the time, and it was great, you know, to fucking have this chat and let everybody know. You know, I know you said it in probably a lot of other places, but I appreciate you coming and telling, you know, the people in my community like how you got your start and all your.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate your time and you having me, man. I'm honored and I'm glad to be a part of it. So, you know, you ever need anything, let me know, my man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, keep on keeping on, man. It's like amazing what you guys are doing. I'm looking forward to the new stuff you're talking about, and you guys have a great weekend, man.
Hell yeah, man. You too. Have a good one.
Yeah, see you, man. Later.
All right.